Good morning, everyone. This is the Delaware County Commissioners meeting. It's Monday, July 21st, 2025. Time is 9:01. Let's open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ed, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Reagan.
Present.
Commissioner Brand.
Present.
Henry.
Here. Here. Okay, we'll move on to appointments. Let's start with the Board of Health. Commissioner Brand.
Yeah, thank you. So we do finally have some folks who are interested in being on the Board of Health. We have 4 folks who have submitted interest, 3 directly to the commissioners, which have all been forwarded to Jamie Bain at the Board of Health, as well as one that went directly to Jamie at the Board of Health and then came to the commissioners. By statute, I believe they have to offer 5 names to the commissioners. So the Board of Health is going to vet these 4 at least and then make a recommendation back to the commissioners. We still have the 2 openings, one to replace Dr. Peterson, who is now our Chief Health Officer. He is officially in that role now. And one that is the city executive appointment, which is vacant. And the way that works, the mayor is supposed to make recommendations of at least 2 or 3 names to the commissioners, and the commissioners pick one. So looking forward to hearing the recommendations from the Board of Health after they
So
review.
the one of them did come from the mayor.
No, none have come from the mayor yet.
Okay.
No.
The mayor submits a list of 3, and from that 3, the commissioners select one.
Right. Yeah. These all came as a result of us talking about it here in the meeting, and 3 of them came to us, 1 went to the Board of Health. So once the Board of Health meets next time, I hope that they'll make recommendation to fill at least one of those open spots. As for the Civic Center Authority Board, we have to make appointments today. Those expire July 31st, so we will not have another meeting before July 31st. Our current 3 appointments are Cherish Howell, Scott Alexander, and David Hanauer. Scott Alexander and David Hanauer are interested in continuing their service. Cherish Howell appreciates the opportunity. She's grateful for the time that she spent, but it no longer works great for her schedule, so she's going to send a note to the board, and she will not be seeking reappointment. We do have a couple of folks who showed interest in being on the Civic Center Authority Board, but we would need to interview them. We have not done that yet. So for today's business, I would make a motion to reappoint Scott Alexander and David Hanauer and to not reappoint Cherish Howell to the Civic Center Authority Board.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
And then for the Fair Board, we still don't have any names that I'm aware of interested. I was approached at the fair by Danielle Castle. I believe she organized that Touch a Truck event that happened on Monday. She's been a volunteer for a little while and said she would be interested in joining that board. But that's the only name that I've seen.
I have some, but I haven't been able to get a hold of them, let you guys vet them. I'll see if they're still interested. We do need some financial background. I know that, so. Next month, I'll have somebody.
Okay.
Very good. All right, we'll go to the solar moratorium.
Yeah, make a motion to remove the solar moratorium from the table so I can provide an update.
There, a second.
Yeah.
I'll second it. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan.
No.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
So continue to meet with Holocene Clean Energy. They're the company that's interested in working on brownfield sites. There are 3 prior industrial sites here in Delaware County that they're interested in. They're working with the owners. They've submitted letters of interest to 2 of the owners. That's about as far as what I know about the Delaware County business. They did ask about neighboring counties, and I talked to a couple of commissioners in other counties who also have some former industrial sites that they would be interested in speaking with Holocene Clean Energy about. So I've made connection with one of those commissioners in one of our neighboring counties. I met a week or so ago with some folks from Randolph County that had asked to meet with me. Blackford County was not in attendance. The meeting did not go like I anticipated. We spent most of the time talking about CAFOs. Second most talked about topic was wind, and solar we talked about the least. It was their meeting, their request, and I followed their lead. They did say that the latest projects in Randolph County that are solar are meeting a lot of resistance, and they don't expect them to go through as smoothly as they did prior. In last meeting that we had here 2 weeks ago, I said that I was hearing a new message, one of no solar, that I hadn't heard that message before. Somehow my comments in the meeting got spun into I'm not hearing from people that are in favor of solar. As such, I've received probably 24 communications that are largely the same message. Some of them are word for word the same. So it looks to me like somebody sent out a message and said, hey, contact Commissioner Brand, make sure you tell him that you're in favor of solar. And these letters and emails all largely look the same. They have the same topics. Some of them, again, are even word for word. One of them was quite vulgar and obscene. There's no need to use that kind of language. I know people get emotional about things, but I don't respond well to that. I don't speak to people that way, and I will not be talked to that way. So I just want that person to know that I've completely ignored their input and their comments. If they want to talk to me in a respectful manner, I'll absolutely listen as long as possible. I was also invited to a meeting with some farmers that are against putting solar on farm ground. And one thing that keeps getting said is that the farmers that are in favor of solar are far outnumbered by the residents who are against solar. But I can tell you that in the people who have contacted me, there are more farmers against it than there are for it. This is the number of people that have contacted me. Also, it's been said in those communications that we're all basically a canned communication, that we're getting left behind by Randolph County and Jay County, Blackford County. Jay County doesn't have solar, so that's an inconsistency in some of that message that came through. But there's nothing that Delaware County needs to compete with Randolph and Jay and Blackford County about. Our counties are completely different. They're structured different, population's different, density's different, and there's no need for us to compete with our neighboring counties. And that concludes my update, Mr. President.
So I know the planning commission is talking about an August date for the meeting. Is that still correct? Okay.
Eileen Swackhammer, Planning Commission. So we have set a date for the special meeting where these proposed solar ordinance will be discussed. That is August 12th at 6 p.m. at the Justice Center. There is a little bit of information too on our website that people can refer to, but anyone wishing to speak will need to sign up to speak that evening. The doors will open at 5:15. And then they do need to sign up if they wish to speak either in favor or against.
Okay, did everybody get that? August 12th at 6 p.m. at the Justice Center. Doors will open at 5:15. You'll have opportunity to speak, but you'll have to sign up to speak.
And to be clear, people are signing up in favor of the ordinance or in favor of solar?
We are going to have people sign up pro solar, against solar.
Okay.
And then when it is your time to speak, you can speak on any particular matter that's in the ordinance that you want to. We are just structuring it that way to kind of see how many people we have in each category.
Okay.
How much time will they have to speak?
So that'll depend on how many people sign up.
Okay.
But the special procedures that we are going by, the same ones we went by last year, and our plan commission has already looked at these. I have some copies of these as well that I will leave if anyone would like to take some. But it does say that the chair, after a review of who has signed up, they're going to see if it looks like it's going to take longer than 60 minutes. The chair has the ability to reduce the time from 3 minutes down to try to keep the whole group under 60 minutes. No one will have less than 1 minute, but 3 minutes is kind of the target that we're going for.
Okay.
If there is an attorney, they do have to sign up. They have to submit the names of the people that they are speaking for, and then those people would not have the chance to speak themselves. But an attorney can take no longer than 30 minutes, no matter how many people they're representing.
Okay. All right.
And then one final comment, the upper area of the auditorium will be closed off and blocked off. We will not allow seating in the upper area of the auditorium. The purpose of that action is the fire marshals come through, and when the old Wilson Middle School was remodeled into the Justice Center, that auditorium was supposed to have been limited to 499 seats. I think it's currently over 600 with the upper seating, so we will not allow people to sit in the upper. There's seating for 499 people in the lower section.
Very well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
place these on the table.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to put the solar moratorium back on the table.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have the IU Health Master Agreement. I believe we're still waiting on some information, are we not?
We got an email. Motion to take the IU master agreement off the table.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes.
What did we do? I was gonna
I'm sorry.
take it off the table.
This
Yeah,
is-
go ahead. You can speak about this if you'd like.
Well, we're still kind of in limbo with the clinic. So that's kind of where we stand. I mean, we don't really have any definite answers.
They did send us an email with some information.
Yeah.
You wanna,
Yep, so what we had asked for in the last meeting was to get a contract on the, on the per diem, the à la carte, which they offered in their flyer. And we received an email from Abby Friday at 12:30, answered the questions and gave a bunch of information, but on the second page, it says other data you believe is relevant. The fourth bullet point down says we are not able to provide a cost per visit option in an employer solutions model clinic.
Okay.
So,
I've not checked all my emails because I was off last week, so.
yeah. So it looks like they're not willing to
they're not
offer
willing
that,
to do a-
even though they have it in their presentation, that they offer $56.56 or 65 cents a visit à la carte.
We're gonna have to look into,
can you clear that up for us to make sure they're not willing to accept
okay,
that?
yeah.
We have to do something.
Well, we also need to look at, again, the other clinic that we had discussed.
Did you hear from Marathon?
Yes, and I have it tentatively scheduled for Thursday, but I just I did that from home, so I just need to see if you guys are free to meet with about the other clinic, Marathon.
Is it on Thursday, you say?
Yes.
What time?
Well, you guys have got to tell me because we'll work around you.
We'll have to get with you. I don't have my schedule.
It'll have to be in the morning or after 5 o'clock for me.
Okay, let's do it in the morning because Angela is here that day for one-on-ones. So if we do it
I'm
like
open
at 11
10.
on Thursday, and then she can go right into her one-on-ones.
Would 10 be good?
10
That'd
would
be
work.
fine.
At 9 a.m., we have a meeting for the ERC and the
I think-
RFP that we have
Yeah,
out
I
in
knew there
NDOT's
was
tip.
something, but
So,
Let's try 11.
I'll get that invite out.
Motion to put the IU master agreement back on the table.
second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Thank you, Pam. We have approval of the minutes for the commissioner meeting, July 7th, 2025. Are there any corrections?
I sent some corrections and they were corrected and sent back to us. So that's what we have in our packet today.
I'd like to, before we vote on, go back to the way we used to do our minutes, just have the detailed of the votes, seconds. I just think they're cumbersome to read and not necessary. But that's just my opinion.
You still using AI for these? Okay.
We can look at giving AI some different instructions to be a little more brief.
Yeah,
But, you know, the ladies have switched over to using AI. It's a tremendous time saver for them, and the
well,
accuracy
when we
is
print
improving.
them out, it's 8 pages and
Yeah. I've received a few compliments from the public about the detail that's
Well,
offered.
that's nice. And YouTube, you can do YouTube also now.
Make a
Okay.
motion to approve the meeting minutes from July 7th.
Second,
We have a motion to approve and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have presentations to the commissioners, America's Hometown Band. Roger McConnell.
Come on, Bert.
Can you turn that microphone on? Turn that microphone on for him, Don.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of America's Hometown Band. We are applying for economic development support for the arts and the band in specific. Our history goes back to 1902 as a American Federation of Musicians concert band, and it prevailed really till the mid-'80s. At that time, I was the last director of the AFM concert band. I succeeded Paul McDaniel, and the interest in having a city band was very strong, particularly James Carey and Mr. Ed Ball were two that were very instrumental in establishing the band. We play for civic functions, we play concerts, we do memorials. We always participate in the activities of the Veterans Associations. We are, I guess, an on-call musical group in trying to prevail and be a historical museum. We most frequently have partnered with the Minnetrista Center. And you might suggest, as I think the last time I spoke, John Brook labeled this as an intra-local organization. In fact, John was instrumental in establishing our bylaws way back when, in 88, 89. We are asking for support. We use our money to employ musicians, economic development in that particular respect. And in my particular case, I'm asking for monetary support for operations. I do not necessarily view that as a salary, but a reimbursement for the substance of what it takes to make a band go. We do about 30-some performances a year. The two other people, besides Larry McWilliams, who is with me, and Larry, you're welcome to come up if you like. Larry is the director of our jazz band. I am heading the concert band. I have lots of good assistants. Specifically, the support letters are, one of which is Charles Ruth, a physician, and he is very good conductor. And the others are Steve, John Clark has been, in fact, you see him first on the list. We're doing a side-by-side program with the Old Washington Street Festival. The other two are the director of the rock band, and that is David Helms, a local music merchant and really active in lots of musical activities in Muncie and Delaware County. He is a Yorktown person, and I must mention also that the director of outreach is George Wolf. Also, like Larry and I, is a professor emeritus of Ball State. I served as director of bands and also taught large classroom music classes and dealt with lots of operations under the direction of Dr. Robert Hargraves, who was my mentor. I was very happy to have had that experience, and he kind of prepared me in lots of ways. The other part of our activities, besides jazz, rock, and jazz, is that we do support the public schools. We are very active and do clinics and do, besides the side-by-side program with them, we are very active in activities with them. We have found it difficult to operate when the public schools are in session. Use of space, resources and so forth, those are real problems, and we are hopefully going to relocate some of our rehearsal activities, and we'd like to do that at the Delaware County Justice Center. So I've pursued that with a couple folks. I've somewhat ran aground with Sheriff Skinner, but I would like to sometime proceed with that as well. So I'm indulging your support, I hope, for the activities continuing. My list of performances, my list of activities, how we do things. It's very much a pleasure to serve the citizens of Delaware County and Muncie. But I must say we have a roster of 85 and 90 musicians that are served as well, most of which are on the professional side. And I'm going to ask Larry to make a comment, if you would, please, about who he works with in his jazz band. Larry, would you make a comment, please?
You can speak from the podium up there, Larry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is this on?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm having trouble hearing everybody because I have hearing aids and I don't have them with me. So I don't like them. Anyway, well, I do work with Roger in America's Hometown Band program. This is my third summer, and I have an 18-piece jazz band, and I use professional musicians from Bloomington, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Muncie, and it's what I have done all my life. I'm a trumpet player, and I've been around the world 14 times with different groups and people and such, and I see what a wonderful thing it is to have a concert and a group of people there that's just really tickled to death to be there, and they don't get a chance to see that kind of activity very much, and it's very well. My pianist is a guy that used to be the pianist for what's his name? I just forgot. Anyway, outstanding performers and such, and anything that you can do to encourage us and help us would be mostly appreciated.
Thank you, Larry.
Any questions or whatever?
No, thanks for your service.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Well, in summary, I would say that we are in keeping with other comparable concert bands, municipal bands, Lafayette and Kokomo. My heritage was Kokomo. I intended to be a pig farmer when I was in high school, and that didn't work out well in a financial respect. So I played a few musical contests and particularly enjoyed it and came to Ball State, and that became a home. And I have lived in Muncie, Delaware County now for 51 years, and I enjoy it very much, and I appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Roger.
Okay, so the ask is for $30,000.
So we just passed our edit plan. It's not in there. And I didn't see a line item in last year's budget or the previous year's budget.
Yeah, we
for
had,
this.
gave him some money, was it out that well?
Maybe health and wellness one year. I think we did give it out of there. I'll be honest with you. I think that for this request, it'd be more appropriate to go to the redevelopment commission.
Oh, that's an idea.
They work on economic development, and if you want to classify this as economic development, I think it should go in front of that board. We don't have budgeted money for this.
Yeah, and they are paid professionals.
They are, yeah.
And they do, I mean, it adds to our community to have something this great to offer to the.
Yeah, it's a good program.
Yeah.
It's not,
Roger, we'll get some information to you. Who we think.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Roger, the recommendation is to bring your same presentation in front of the Delaware County Redevelopment Commission. They meet on the second Thursday of every month, right here in this room at 9 a.m. But we'll get you some information.
Okay.
Thank you, Roger.
I appreciate your time.
yeah, thank you. Thanks for your service. Yeah, I like that idea. Not that I'm trying to pass the buck, but it's just,
I just don't feel like,
right.
we don't budget for it, and this is a big ask. And,
Maybe they can give them more than we could.
yeah, I don't feel like,
Did we state the ask so the public knows?
yeah, I said $30,000.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. Next, we have the Axios Group, Adriana Walton.
She didn't make the last meeting either. Is Pam still here? Pam's not, yeah, skip it.
Okay, we'll move forward. Next, we have ALC Don Chambers.
Morning, everyone. My name's Don Chambers, Superintendent of Delaware County. I'm asking about the automated logic, about updating our systems here in the county building. Everyone knows these systems are way outdated. This building's been here since '69. It's the same equipment that's basically been here. We've just been updating little things. But they did the first floor many years ago. We need to get the second and third floor done. To get it all to where I can be able to see it on the computer, to be able to work on things from home and see how things are from here and from home also. I'm just asking that to get the work done, it's the total of $159,000. I'm completely fine with if we have to wait till next year, but we need to get this done, because if not, it's just, everything's going downhill. So, I'm trying to keep it up as best as possible, but
We do have trouble controlling some of the building systems, and we're unable to connect. This is not the first time that we've heard about this, and we did put money in our edit plan to support this.
Okay,
So, just to make it clear, it is a large sum of money, $159,000. That includes demo and replace, 40 VAV controllers, 2 DAT sensors, 2 HW control valves, and 2 room stats per VAV.
Yes. That's labor and everything included.
And they're adding a controller to the 3rd floor. I mean, there is a lot involved with this, contract. I'll be honest with you, I don't want to spend $159,000, no more than either one of you, but I think we need to get it done.
I agree. I mean, this has been a known issue, and we've now got the right quote, and we've addressed it in our budget, and I'd make
It's a lot cheaper than it has been in the past. The first quote was it was like $249,000, and I was able to work with Rich Taylor and Resolve Tech to get it down to $159,000.
Yeah, we reviewed the scope and got it in line. I'd make a motion to approve.
Hang on just for a minute. John, these controls aren't just something that anyone can get to, correct? I mean,
No,
these are specific
Login.
Yeah,
controls.
I gotta have a separate login, everybody's gotta have a separate login to get into this.
Well, as I understand it, and from what Don has explained, and explained to me, is this is proprietary software
Yeah.
that cannot be duplicated and is not available from any other source. So,
And that is the reason why we're only accepting one
Right.
bid is what
Right.
I'm getting
that's
at.
right, because of
So
that
I wanna-
very fact.
I want to make that clear.
Right.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve this request and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Don.
Next, we have Atlas Services, Jeff Hansard.
Morning, Commissioners. Jeff Hansard, Chief Probation Officer. I'm here this morning seeking approval from the Commissioners for the Delaware County Probation Department to enter into a contract with Atlas Collections, Inc. out of Henry County for them to help us pursue probation user fees that are owed to the department after individuals leave their probation supervision. At times they leave owing unpaid fees. The department's very keen on collecting as much of those fees as possible. And Atlas Collections, commissioners have a copy of the contract. They're willing to do that on our behalf. We've done this for the past few years with another vendor and had some level of success, not as much as we'd like. We estimate around 2,500 to 3,000 per year. We'd like to increase that rate. Atlas Collections has put together some information and a proposal in the contract. And we'd like to work with them now and see if they can have a better efficacy rate for us.
And I'm sure 30% is about the going rate that most agencies would charge.
Yeah, it seems to be a industry standard so for example, if an individual owed us $1,000 in fees, the collection entity gets a 30% commission on top of that. We would get our 1,000 and then they collect 300.
John, have you reviewed the contract?
I have. I had a couple questions for Jeff as to whether in the probation orders that are received by the probation individuals, are there orders that require them to pay collection fees?
When they sign the rules, there's a line that indicates to them that any unpaid fees may be turned over to the collection entity. However, as a term and condition on the fees, there's not a penalty or for late fees or anything like that wording in the order language.
Okay. Is that possible? Would the judges entertain that?
I'm sure they would entertain it. I could take it back to them and if you had some sample language, maybe you could send me or we could look at.
Basically, it's just a sentence that says that if this has to go to collections, you're responsible for all fees and costs incurred during the course of collections.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to take that to the judges.
Because I noted that there were a number of counties that have that in their standard probation agreement. And so they can use that to help leverage, instead of losing money because the probation doesn't pay, then they're obligated to pay that. And I understand a lot of these are indigent individuals that can't afford it. Some of them can.
That's right. Yeah, I'd be happy to take that back to the judges and for approval of that.
That was the only, I made a couple of changes and they've adopted them, so.
Okay.
Yep.
So does that language affect this agreement, John, or is that something inside the probation and the courts?
That would be, it doesn't affect that agreement.
That's what I thought.
But they would add it to the probation document, which would be the 30%, then they could collect the 30% from the probationer
From here on,
if the judges approve it.
yeah.
Right now, it's 30% of whatever the money they collect. The probationer doesn't pay the collection fees right now until the judges approve that as part of their probation agreement.
Are there any other questions, comments? Entertain a motion for approval of the Atlas Collection Agreement.
So moved.
Second,
We have a motion to approve in a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have the Capital Asset Annual Update. Ed, could you turn your microphone on, please? Thank you. Go ahead.
Basically, this is an agreement, same contractor we've used the last couple of years. Essentially, we gather all the assets and provide them for our financial reports that provide to Baker Tilly and Conformis.
The cost of this service is $4,495.
Correct.
This is also a State Board of Accounts requirement, correct? Yes.
Where do these funds come from?
Come on, general fund.
We've used them, Peterson, before, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
We've used in the last couple of years.
Do I have a motion to approve?
Yeah, so move,
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Next, we have the LPA consulting contract.
Yeah, so we've already seen this on our agenda and we approved it. And after we approved it, there was a typo noticed in section 3 on the first page. The sentence reads, the term of this contract shall be from the date of the last signature affixed to this contract to the completion of the construction contract, which is estimated to be, and then there was a number in there of $880,000. It wasn't a date. So the date that you have in front of you today for correction is June 30th of 2027. So we're only looking at changing that number, that $880,000 number, to the June 30th, 2027 date. I would make a motion to approve the change with the LPA consulting contract.
We have a motion to approve this correction.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next is the Comcast service agreement.
So this is for the mental health facility. We have to have Comcast, we have to have internet in order to monitor our fire protection, and you have to have these things in place before you can get certificate of occupancy permit. We started working with Comcast back in March, worked with them and BW Construction through April. And I think on May 7th, we gave the approval to install the Comcast line. That person that was at Comcast turned over, they left, and the process and system apparently at Comcast isn't sophisticated enough to continue business if certain people aren't in place. So
That was a good way to put that.
I'm being as nice as I can.
That was a good way to put it. Thank you.
I'm being as nice as I can. So we are in a pickle. They actually went out and did some field work and figured out that it's going to cost some money. Specifically, we have 3 options in front of us here today, and I'm recommending option 1, by the way, and I'll just read it. We'll go with the original contract for the service remains the same for the recurring cost of $795 a month and the term length for 3 years. So everything's going to stay the same. The exception is we would need to upfront a capital contribution from the county for $21,479. So they have to install the Comcast from the road to the building. The original person that didn't get out of their chair and do any field work thought that that was already installed and they just needed to run it from the connection at the building into the building. So that's the bad news. The good news is, worked with Bill Glavin at BW, and we took a look at the construction, which is wrapping up, and we have around $20,000 in savings from the allowances that the commissioners put in place from signage, blinds, and additional appliances. And that's pretty close to the $21,479. So Bill has agreed and put in writing that BW can and will cover 100% of the Comcast costs. So I would like to make a motion to approve option number 1 to update our contract with Comcast so they can get that installed. The heavy lift is going to be getting it done before August 1st, which is when we need to get the building turned over to us.
I'll second that.
We have a motion to approve the Comcast agreement. A second, roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Next, we have Ameritech ground lease amendment. Mr. Brook?
Yes, this is an amendment to our current lease on the tower at the highway department. This was negotiated last year. I was able to negotiate an increase from $200 a month to $400 a month, plus a revenue sharing arrangement, so that if they add other people like AT&T onto this, then we will get 10% of the revenue on top of that. So I would ask for, we finally got the final agreement in, I'd ask for your approval so that we can start collecting more revenue on this.
And I appreciate that it is a kind of a long-term, 5 years. And it goes up 1% of every 5 years, I believe.
There's a cost of living increase that's built into this that would start in 2027. And it predetermined amount depending on the economy. And this is a continuation of an agreement that's been in place for a number of years. Goes back when Ron Bonham was a,
Right, and
Commissioner,
it didn't go up like this
Correct.
new one.
it
And I
was stayed in
appreciate-
place for 20, 30 years.
My concern is 30 years down the road, when that time to go up, how do we notify the auditor to make sure that the contract does go up?
Oh, there could be flags that are put on the calendars that, to identify when the cost increase, because it's built into the contract, specified in the contract that increase is due this date.
Right, but we know turnover and
Right.
the mechanism is there, but just,
The mechanism there is just the follow through is gonna, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
yeah.
The thing I like about this is it brings our installments in monthly payments, which helps cash flow for the county instead of getting it annually. So I appreciate your work on this, John.
Yeah, thanks.
I do as well. I know you've been working on it for a long time, and I appreciate all your work on it. So I entertain a motion to approve this agreement.
So moved.
Second,
We have a motion to approve and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Okay, next we have the, you guys have received the weights and measures report from, Eric. You have any
President?
questions on those?
Mr. President, do you want department heads and elected officials?
I probably should. Let's stay with, this first. Do you have any questions from Eric?
I do. Yeah. Thanks, Eric. Hey, Eric, on your monthly report, at the
Yes.
McGalliard Food Mart, you put a note in here that you were unable to test due to underground storage tank leaking.
That's a case where there was water in the fuel.
Okay. So it's leaking water in, not gasoline out?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I have something like that, I contact the proper authorities to make sure that environmentally it's
Okay.
taken care of.
And then you also attached your annual report?
Yes.
Yep.
That's just something we send to the state. I just went ahead and forwarded it on to you guys.
So you did 14,375 inspections last year? Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate your good
Thank
help.
you. Yeah, appreciate all your work, Eric. Department heads and elected officials. Mr. Fluke?
Morning, Commissioners. Jim Float from the IT Department. I got a notification by email from the Blackford County Sheriff's Department that
they're looking at doing some upgrades on their public safety system. And they've been talking to Tyler, for maybe putting that particular system in. And with that, they've, see that they're not gonna be able to, maybe a full package to be able to afford it. So they asked if the commissioners would want to consider piggybacking Blackford County records management system, and I believe for the sheriff and the city police, to add that on to the records management system. It's just a request to see if you'd even be interested in talking to them about it. Is there any additional cost to us? Well, if there would be any cost, I think it would be passed on to them for making this happen. Well, I don't disagree, but. But there would be potentially, if it's just the records management system, there's not extra personnel that's going to be involved. It's just a matter of adding additional licensing for them to get into the records management system. And beyond that, if there's conversion or anything, that would be on Blackford County. And sometimes that gets lost in the billing, though. That's what I worry about. And are they willing to, I guess, pay us anything for? Yes, they agree that would be some costs that have to be incurred and paid to the county for using the service. But just to start the conversation and to see whether where it would go from there.
I see Fred coming to the mic, and our sheriff's department and EMS and others are in here.
So,
what do you guys
this
say?
is very similar to what Ball State asked us to do before. We had a contract drawn up that we were gonna present to Ball State. I think we actually did present it. They decided not to go with it. There's no issue with bringing them on, but the contract has to be pretty specific that they're responsible to bear all the costs. And what we also said was there'll be an administrative fee every year in order for him to do his work. Because this is something that IT maintains all the time. So I think Shannon and Sherry probably remember when we were negotiating with Ball State, we had decided to do, I think it was a $30,000 per year fee on top of everything that they paid, which covered the IT work. And it also put, the way we had it structured at that point was $15,000 that would go into the statewide 911 fund to reimburse the cost that we have associated out of there, and $15,000 would go towards IT costs for the year.
Yeah.
So this is something that would probably take a little bit of time to negotiate.
Maybe we need to have a study of how much extra time and if it's more.
We kind of did that. We kind of did that last time. I mean, there are benefits to sharing a records management system. I mean, it gives the sheriff's department access to Blackford County records and vice versa. It's actually pretty common throughout the country to share. We're in a talks right now about sharing with Madison County and Hamilton County, so that anybody from the sheriff's department or anywhere can access their records management system to see what involvements they have with different people and everything else. That's actually fairly common. I didn't know about this till this morning, so it's something that we're gonna have to discuss and put a cost on as well.
I think it's clear we need to learn more about it, and I'd like to hear from the sheriff's department and our communications department, and the other departments, what the ups and downs are of this.
Yeah.
Could you have some further conversation with them and see what they'd be willing to pay, and maybe Mr. Cummings and Mr. Fluke, you two get together and see what a cost on our side would be?
Estimate.
Yeah, I'd like to, maybe going to go further, just to have a call with them and whoever else on their end, and then discuss it with them and get a better idea and let them know where we're coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at this point, I'd be willing to look into it. I think we're in agreement.
Yeah, since we can.
I would like to learn more, but I'd like to understand the risks and rewards.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep, thanks. Any other department heads or elected officials?
Can I give a quick HR update? I don't see Pam. There's a new PI fillable form, so please, all the department heads and elected officials, anybody that does payroll, there's a fillable form for PIs now. If you can start using that, I'd appreciate it. Apex one-on-ones are this Thursday right here in the county building. They're going to continue to support the employee one-on-one engagement while McGriff is doing their work in the background. And open enrollment's going to be moved ahead this year. It's typically in December, I think, but we're going to try to do it maybe at the end of September or early October. So I think that's a benefit. And then there's some Title VI ADA training has been sent out via email. There's a PowerPoint to watch, and then there's a link you can click on at the end that registers that you took it. That's mandatory training for all employees, so please make sure you get your mandatory training done.
I know Mr. Humbert gets very embarrassed coming forward, but I'd like for him to come and tell us his struggles on hiring, because I have heard that there's some openings at the highway. Mr. Humbert?
Yeah, so, I mean, we are having some struggles. You know, the pay is an issue, but it is what it is, so we're just gonna make the best with it. So we're just taking applications, going through them, and calling people, getting the references, and trying to get some good employees. So we're struggling a little bit, but we'll get through it. I feel confident.
Are you still about 4 short?
Yeah, right now we're trying to hire 3 right now. So we got some more in today. So I feel confident with that. Like I said, there'll be some good ones come in. I know a couple that's coming in. I looked over them a little bit. So yeah, we're gonna make it. I mean, no matter what, we might be struggling a little bit, but we're picking up from both sides. We're getting by fine.
Please tell us a little bit about CDL. Maybe somebody has a family member that would like to start.
Well, you just have to have a it's Class A CDL or CDL with a air brake and just some background. You know, as far as the CDL now, you have to go to classes, take classes to get these. Where it used to, you get a permit. So we absolutely do not hire anyone that doesn't have a CDL coming in. And reason being, we did hire a couple a few years ago, and they kept dragging it out until we had to get rid of them. So we just want somebody that comes in with some experience, but we're getting some applications now that's going to turn out okay.
Good.
I feel confident in. So, but everything's going. We're getting by. We're taking people from one side, putting them on the other, and we're going to get through it.
And the debrushing, I get so many calls on debrushing. Now, those are your summertime hires, and they don't have to have a CDL to drive.
No, well, our summertime help is just basically college kids that will come, and they do brush on the bridges, but we actually have a crew out right now that I've hit out by the jail. We're hitting busy places. We're hitting places where we're getting ready to pave or chip and seal, and we're trying to get that back. It's just, there's a lot of brush. There's, since it's been a long time since we've had a really, strong brush plan. We try to put one intact, but it's kind of hard with the numbers right now.
Yeah.
But we do have people out brushing every day.
Yeah, and we do appreciate the farmers and the homeowners that do the brush for us, the side ditches.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah, we just got to be careful with the farmers that we don't throw it out into the road. We
Right.
ran into a situation up by Albany where there was actually an accident up there, but on the Strong Bridge. And but a farmer, I don't think it had anything to do with it, but a farmer was throwing a lot of stuff out into the roadway, I mean, we appreciate their help, but we need them to keep it going into the ditch,
Yes, I learned years ago, throw it in twice, at least.
Yeah.
Before you go around and throw it out the other way.
But the mowing's going, like I said, chip and seal's going strong right now. Troy's got it going strong. The paving has been a big success. Also, we are going to, I'm sure all 3 of you may be aware of it, but I'll let the public know. We are going to double stripe Black Mills Road. We're going to, from 67 to Old Granville. We feel like that a double yellow is necessary in the middle. So that is going to be up and coming pretty soon.
Okay, good. Appreciate
I
it.
guess that's probably about it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other department heads or elected officials? Okay, we have the payment of claims of $1,256,269.83.
So moved.
A second. May I explain a couple
Go
of them?
ahead, yeah.
Thank you. So in the claims today, there are animal shelter. The county contributes $150,000 a year to the animal shelter. 75,000 of that comes out of edit, and our edit plan was recently approved, so that came out of there. There are two payments for that. One supposed to be February 15th, the other one's August 15th, but this is that second payment, or no, I'm sorry, this is the first payment, I believe. Also, out of edit funds, we enhanced and reinforced the salt barn out at the county highway garage. That was $59,700, and added a lean-to to get some equipment in and out of the weather. Some TIF funds out of the Morrison TIF, the Midwest TIF, and the Progress Rail TIF. Some economic development funds, $4,166.66 apiece. Out of the Magna TIF, $120,593.11 for the Isaiah 117 house. Paving materials, as Tommy said, that stuff's going really well. $106,000 for paving materials. Paid $47,417.26 in claims for the surveyor. Wheel tax distributions to the towns went out, $208,278.07. There was one in there that I'm not sure about, and this is a question that I have. I don't know if it's for the commissioners or the auditor. Daleville court costs $52,559.29. What's that for?
Oh, I missed that one.
Maybe Tanya, here she comes.
Right.
And then while Tanya's coming up, there were, 40, 50, another $50,000 in credit card charges with no explanations.
Tanya Dunsmore, Chief Deputy Auditor. I believe the 52,000 that you spoke of for Daleville is whenever a town does not have their own court, they go through city court, and then they can put in a request for the money that hits that fund for the court costs and fees that they've submitted for like their tickets, their yada, yada, yada. Any town can do that. However, the only town that requested it this year was Daleville.
I believe that's circuit court.
Yes.
It's circuit court, not city court.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, when you said city court.
Sorry.
No, it's
Sorry.
circuit. It's
Yeah.
circuit court.
Okay. So anything that runs through the circuit court, it's the Delaware County Circuit Court. They're the
Correct.
ones performing the service.
Mhm.
So this money's coming from Daleville to Delaware County or going from Delaware County to Daleville?
No, it's the collection of those fees and such from those tickets and stuff like that that the towns have
Gotcha.
distributed.
I got you.
And then they can collect back on that, but
So
they
for
have to
example-
request it.
Yeah. So for
And-
example, if they get $4 for a speeding ticket, this is the redistribution of those fees back to the
Right.
town.
Yeah, or
Understand.
it could be fines due to ordinance violations, and
Gotcha.
there's a number of things.
And the Delaware County courts collect it, and they're distributing it
Mhm.
to Daleville.
We just have a certain fund, we go into that fund, we see what the balance is in that fund. If it's like, say, 3 towns that all put in a request, then it gets divided evenly
Three ways.
amongst the 3.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve
And a second.
and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
No.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes. Next, we have a payment of ARP claims of $677,974.81.
Motion to approve.
Second.
May I explain these?
We have
real
a
quick?
motion to pay the claims and a second. Yes, good.
Yeah, two claims in here that make up this $677,974.81. One goes to the Justice Partners Group, which is the mental health facility. This is maybe the third from the last distribution. That is $673,724.81. And then there was a $4,250 to Unique Computing. And those were distributed from ARP.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes. Next, we have payment of payroll for 7/2 of 25 of $1,045,712.16.
So moved.
Second.
Payment of payroll, motion, a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry,
Yes, we have payroll for 7/16 of 25 in the amount of $1,050,704.36.
So moved.
Second.
A motion to pay that and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand,
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan,
Yes.
Commissioner Henry.
Yes. Thank you. Now we'll go to the public. And first on the list is Cheryl Swingley.
Hello, Cheryl Swingley, Vienna Woods Drive. First comment is, as we enter what I hope is maybe the final phase on the solar issue, we've had a county councilman confuse terminology, and I'd like to clarify that utility solar and industrial solar are not one and the same. Industrial solar would be that solar that supports factories, warehouses, large corporations, and those companies usually are the ones who have installed those solar facilities. The Indianapolis airport would be an example of that. So what we're talking about is solar, utility solar goes on farmland and on brownfields. And as I mentioned brownfields, I have a question. I hear a lot of discussion about brownfields here in really the city limits. Now, do the county commissioners have any control over what happens on our brownfields? That's really a city council issue, isn't it?
Inside the city.
Inside the city, yes. And aren't our brownfields inside the city limits?
Some of them,
Which ones are outside?
the old Delco battery site.
Okay. All right. Well, that's the only one we should be concerned with, I would think, as your body. Next, I would just like to announce that now in the state of Indiana, we can have carbon sequestering operation. And there's nothing that any of us can do about it now because it's state law. And that's where we take carbon and we inject it deep down into the porous rock with the purpose of reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Next, I hear that we might be considering, and again, this is within the city limits, perhaps a natural gas electric generator plant for the south side of Muncie. That is a highly polluting operation. It emits sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, particulate matter, carbon dioxide, mercury, and other pollutants into the air. These emissions are serious. So I guess if we're going to do that, we need to have a carbon sequestering operation to accompany it. And then my final question goes to Mr. Brand. You spent hundreds of hours talking to people who are against solar. I don't know how many hours you spent talking to people who are for solar. But in one sentence, can you tell me what opponents to utility solar, what is their opposition?
View shed and property value guarantees.
Okay, we don't want to look at them. Because there's lots of evidence out there from a realtor in Kokomo even, where it shows that real estate is not affected. Randolph County real estate has not been affected. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Mike Catron.
Good morning, Mike Catron from 1000 East County Road 700 North in Muncie. I have something to share this morning with my thoughts on the solar ordinance. Delaware County is behind most surrounding counties on ag growth opportunities. Lack of income from optional sources other than row crop farming for local farmers has resulted in 500 acres of farmland within a mile and a half of our home being sold in May to an Ohio farmer who has CAFO barns raising chickens. To be the successful bidder, local farmers were left behind. They needed a place to spend their money and found an advantage over local farmers in Delaware County. In addition, on those 500 and some acres, there will be no local income tax paid on that income. On that 500 and some acres, that amounts to $2,400 a year that the county won't receive an income tax. $2,400 on its own is not a lot, but it does add up. And I understand that county government has asked solar developers to pay $3,500 a megawatt for, I believe, 10 years. And if there were 5,000 acres of solar in Delaware County, and 1 megawatt takes about 7 acres of land, that would be $2.5 million a year in money that the county would receive to put toward expenses or to help make up the difference in what we're going to be losing from state funding. And if an ordinance is passed that is too restrictive and solar cannot be lucrative for solar developers, is the county going to pay the landowners for that loss of revenue? The Plan Commission means nothing at all this meeting. The ordinance starts and stops with these 3 commissioners. The Plan Commission just makes a recommendation. It comes back to you guys. If you don't like it, you can change it. So it really starts and stops here. The Plan Commission is just a formality. And by not passing it, those farmers who would like the solar, they came to us and we invited them. It's getting in the way of our life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, which is an inalienable right that shall not be infringed upon. And I have a question. Why is the county highway department mowing side ditches that we don't even have a right of way to? The county is paying money to mow side ditches that is personal property, because the county only has maintenance to the edge of the road to road, no side ditches.
Yeah, the owners won't mow them, and it's a safety issue. That's why we mow it.
So if I quit mowing my yard, you're gonna come mow my yard?
No, but we'll get a court order that will have you mow it, or we'll mow it and then charge you.
Yeah, so do you charge back the farmers that don't do that?
No, we don't. We don't do that.
Well, we're spending public money on private property. And
Thank
that's
you.
not necessary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I believe Roger McConnell may have signed up on this sheet. Does anyone know if he did or not?
My mistake.
I think he did, making sure he was covered.
Yeah, okay. Next, we have Linda Hanson.
Good morning, Linda Hanson, 1400 West North Street. I want to comment on the rules for speaking, both of the commissioners and at the Metropolitan Planning Commission. I appreciate knowing what the rules are for the Planning Commission, the procedures that have been handed out. And I appreciate having the commissioners' rules clarified. It was unclear when time was actually ceded to a person who was speaking some time ago. So it's good to have this out, and I'm speaking on this because I really want it on the public record so everyone knows. Since 2019, it's not been viable for anyone to yield time to another person, even though it's been done. So there are 3 resolutions, 2 specific ones from 2019, 2019-40, and that was amended 2025-05 and 2021-001. So 2 things on these stand out, besides that you can't yield time. One is that when you sign up to speak, you're supposed to give your name, your address, and the topic you want to speak on. We've not been asked to give that 3rd column information. The other thing is, and it's in all of these resolutions, that when you are coming to the stand to speak, you give your name, your county, and the topic you want to speak on. So we're missing a little bit of information here, and as long as we're trying to clarify the rules, I appreciate knowing what they are and having everybody abide by them. Thank you.
Thank you. James Moore?
I'd like to defer my comments to a future meeting.
Okay. Next, we have Sue Arrington.
Sue Arrington, 3200 Westbrook Drive. there are a lot of things I dislike about the current iteration of the proposed ordinance. I personally prefer the original one, the Marta Moody ordinance. But what I'm going to speak about today is one of the new pieces that addresses rooftop solar. And it says that no private, I'm interested in this because I have rooftop solar myself. No private roof-mounted or standalone solar system for a private dwelling shall not be closer than 50 feet to a property line with an occupied dwelling. I have to say the grammar is a little messy here. When I was in high school, my English teacher called this where you have two negatives. Turns out to be a positive, so I don't think that's what you really meant. So you might look at that. But then there is also a footnote, number 1. I looked at footnote number 1, and that refers to roof and ground-mounted solar in residential are classified as accessory uses or structures. And it gives the article number. And it says the guidelines for height setbacks currently not to exceed 17 feet height and as long as completely behind the house, no closer than 3 foot to lot lines. So is it 50 foot or is it 3 foot that's going to be the ordinance for Delaware County? It's the 3 foot that's in there now. I'd also like to point out that the state already regulates these auxiliary solar systems, and it talks about reasonable restrictions. And in that code, it's IC 36-7-2-8. It says a unit, in other words, a local unit, may not adopt any ordinance which has the effect of prohibiting or of unreasonably restricting the use of solar energy systems other than for the preservation or protection of the public health and safety. I think there are a lot of things in that due piece that I just read that would not meet those standards. And I'll give you an example with my own house. It's 3,100 square feet, so it's a medium-sized house. I have 28 solar panels on my roof. And by the way, I did a rough measurement of my house to the property line of my neighbor, and it was 48 feet, not 50 feet. And probably it's a little farther than most residences would be in this type of neighborhood because there's an easement of about 6 or 8 feet for the path that goes back to the new Stower Estates. So I think some of my neighbors, if they had this solar system, would really have a problem with this 50 feet. Anyway, with my 28 panels, my bill this month for electricity is $6.45. But there are a lot of people in here who would like to have a bill like that. In June, it was $16.05. I went through a year. The last August, it was $4.05. January was my highest bill at $146.20.
That's her time.
Thank you, Ms. Arrington.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Cheryl Dawson.
Cheryl Dawson. I'm at the corner of State Road 28 in Wheeling, north of Muncie. I live it's my grandparents' farm. And I guess I'm the only one here today speaking against the solar, but I'd like to be very clear. It's not against solar per se. It's against how it's being done in our county. And I feel for all the people in the different projects who don't want to be surrounded by it. I feel for the farmers who don't want to see farmland taken and covered with solar panels. I wish they would come and speak. I wish anyone listening today would research and reach out any issues of collusion and lack of transparency that has occurred with this project along State Road 28, the Rorton Solar Project. I know that this started probably in 2019, I would guess. We got the PJM report in 2020. I know that there are people right here today and in the Economic Development, Redevelopment Commission and in the Planning Commission through those years to now that have wanted this project to go through. I still believe in the long run it will very possibly end up with I&M when the leases, if the leases are sold to them. And it bothers me greatly because the project I mentioned 2 weeks ago was to take land through my farm and other people's. And I'm pretty certain, no one will tell me what it's for, but I'm pretty certain it started here in this county. And now it's showing up as an NDOT project, but it didn't start with NDOT. And it's for solar ultimately down the road. That's what I believe. So I'm asking people just to be honest. And it's not too late to do the right thing. All three of you can vote against this and start over and do it with full transparency. And I'm disappointed in all of you because I understand you don't want climate change and global warming. I
Ma'am,
get that.
ma'am, listen, if you need to talk, you need to speak with us, all right? Not them.
Well, I will. I'm going to be sending a letter.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Final thoughts, Commissioner Riggin?
Well, the fair is over, and I was out there for the 4-H, and then I was out there a couple nights for the fair, and it was very nice. Maybe not as money-wise as last year was successful, but the fair board does a very nice job, and this was the first year that they did not have carnival rides on Monday night, but the people still came in, and many of them brought the kids to touch a truck, and it was very popular. So I appreciate them thinking of something else to do for the children. That's all.
Mr. Brand?
Yeah, thank you. So Baker Tilly will be here tomorrow following the county council meeting. I believe that special meeting starts at 11 a.m. to present the impacts of Senate Enrolled Act number 1 and the House Enrolled Act that also impacted that. We had our regional roadway roundtable last Thursday at the Minnetrista. About 25 to 30 folks attended from Henry County and Randolph County and Delaware County. It was nice to hear about the NDOT projects that were going on. Let's see, a few of these things have already been covered. Gaston, there's a sidewalk request out there. The commissioners have been having town halls this year. In the Q1 town hall, the folks in Gaston asked if they could have a walking way that goes from the city limits through the unincorporated territory to the county out to the dollar store. So we met out there with United Consulting last week, and we're looking at the potential to extend the sidewalk. I don't know if it'd be a sidewalk or a walking path, so don't hold me to the terminology sidewalk on the west side of the road there that would then go up to the dollar store and then cross over. So we're waiting to hear from United Consulting what that would cost. Also, I think the right-of-ways there on the east side of the road, a number of right-of-ways for the utilities. The utility poles for electricity are pretty far off the road, kind of complicating things. So that's why we're looking at the west side of that road. Unsafe housing meeting is today at 11 a.m. right here following the commissioners meeting. A short break, and then we'll pick that up at 11 a.m. Also want to thank everybody that volunteered at the fair. I tried to get around and talk to as many people in the orange shirts as I could. Department heads, elected officials, county employees, EMS, EMA, 911, the sheriff's department. Really appreciate everybody supporting that out there. I believe it was generally a pretty safe event, which is nice and helps the community's reputation. Real quick, we're going to have, I know Kylene talked about this in the last meeting, but on August 6th, at the 911 center from 4 to 6 p.m. in the evening. We'll hold our second public engagement meeting for ADA Title VI. So if people, citizens have concerns about ADA accessibility for any county-owned buildings, that's your chance to come and provide public input. I've been asked about the reconstruction of Butterfield Drive. This goes adjacent to the bridge that NDOT's doing out on Memorial, 12th Street, near the bypass. We are going to reconstruct that. Unfortunately, it couldn't just be repaved. We have to do some full depth restoration. And they'd put together some additional costs to do that, was going to be $37,000. So similar to the conversation I had with BW about the Comcast situation, been talking with NDOT, and they have some project underruns out there, specifically about the construction and inspection. Those are about $25,000, so that leaves $12,000, and since that's an 80-20 project, local funds, we would only have to come up with $2,400. So at some point, we'll have to talk about where that $2,400 comes from to reconstruct Butterfield. But if you go out there and look right now, the big chunks of payment are all torn up and taken away. And then finally, I was asked by the courts to use one of my connections from my manufacturing career to look into getting them some furniture for the courts out there. And through this back and forth with my connections in the professional world, we discovered that Delaware County has a global contract with a company called Vizient, Vizient. And this company, Vizient, structures global pricing for states, counties, and local governments. And our contract number, Delaware County has a contract number, so anybody ordering furniture, we need to make sure that we pay attention to this because it's a significant discount, is 255-2939. So any department, you know, a lot of times at the end of the year, people come up and they have money in their budget and they want to buy some new chairs or new tables or things. We have a contract with this company, Vizient, and it looks like it's about 57% off the original price that they were looking at out there at the courts. And that concludes my update, President.
Learn something every day. I had no idea.
Entertain a motion for recess.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brand.
Yes.
Commissioner Reagan. Commissioner Reagan. Commissioner Henry.
Yes. In recess.